global citizens.
I have this theory that if you can easily fit in more than 2 countries, you're not normal. You might be
a little bit weird. And what I mean by that is that you do not belong to the norm. I know this from personal experience. Since I've moved to London, if somebody bumps into me in the supermarket or on the street, I am the one who apologizes. Being polite has become my second nature.
I know what you mean. You're in that respect a global citizen. That means that you have recognition for people who have a similar background or similar experiences. It's totally normal, Xenia. If you go now to a small town or a village with people that grew up there their entire lives, I believe growing up in a village or a small town and you stay there and have a good job and you can raise a family, and that's okay, it's amazing, then you have roots. And if you have a good relationship with your parents or your family and your neighbors and your friends, then that is really enriching. But I grew up all over the world. I moved over 20 times before I was 18. I was born in Berlin 1983. As a baby, I moved with my mother and my older sister to Tenerife, the Canary Islands. From there, 1 year Germany, 1 year Belgium, 2 years to Tenerife again, Santa Ursula, in a beautiful villa with 13 rooms. That's after my mother got the inheritance from her father. In 1989, we moved to Tenerife again for 2 whole years into a huge villa. It was beautiful. We had our own swimming pool, our own tennis court, our own vegetable garden, and a completely separate house for my grandmother, completely separate but in the garden. It had everything, 2 levels, a full house outside right next to it. The villa had 13 rooms with each their own bathroom with bathtub, and there was another level below where my mother had to practice, and I was there with my older sister, my mother, my grandmother, my great-grandmother, 2 basset hounds, a German Shepherd, and Tommy the cat, that's similar to my cat right now. That's really
Whereas
sweet.
when I'm in the regions where I grew up, Lugano, Milan, I am much more outspoken. I say hello to the barista. When I have coffee, I speak to people. And at the same time, I'm much more conscious about what I'm wearing.
I know what you mean. It's the London mentality, and that's the Italian Lugano mentality. Every city, every country has their own mentality. You adapt accordingly. You go out in London, you're more reserved, mehr zurückhaltend, and it's difficult meeting new people who don't have a similar background. That's the truth. Short recap, 1983, born in Berlin, Germany, then we moved to Tenerife, the Canary Islands, then from the Canary Islands to 1 year to Berlin again, 1 year to Belgium, then 1 year to Tenerife again, then 1 year Le Rosé in Rolle, that is the French private boarding school. From the French private boarding school, we went all the way to San Francisco for 2 years, that was 1994-95. Those were majestic years, those were really beautiful. Then the inheritance was going out. We moved all the way back to Belgium. And I was like, what? From San Francisco, such a beautiful, vibrant city, zum Kuhdorf in Belgium, to a village in Belgium. And I was latent depressed in Belgium for years. And I went to a public school in Belgium, first in Capellen, then in Kern. And I never felt at home because they didn't share a similar background. I felt more at ease and more at home with the people from the international private school in Kern. There were Americans, there were Arabs, there were French people, there were Asians from all across the world, and they were there, and I could talk to them, and there was a similar connection, similar experiences. They were more outspoken, and I connected with them better, and I actually went out with them in Antwerp, and there were beautiful Swedish women as well, really blonde, natural blonde hair with blue eyes. I was like mesmerized. And actually said it, you're beautiful, and they said thank you. But since you're in another school, you're always the outsider. And back then, I also smoked, cannabis. And once a friend of that school, of that international school, asked me to give him something. It was white dynamite, it was really potent stuff. And they associated me with being a dealer. I told them it's a friend doing this, I'm not a dealer, and I never did it again, but everybody believes that I was a dealer. And my advice to you, Xenia, be polite, that's standard, but don't feel obliged to be polite 24/7. If they somehow insult you or diss you, then you can say, fuck off, vate al carajo. You don't always have to be polite, It's true. I followed Lindsay Pillas and X, and she hunted down all those haters, and it was a beautiful show. It's true. And if there are prostitutes here that are totally on drugs, and they try to touch me or something, I tell them, puta, vate al carajo. There's absolutely nothing wrong with using names in that respect to get people off your back.
As when I'm in the regions where I grew up, Lugano, Milan, I am much more outspoken. I say hello to the barista. When I have coffee, I speak to people. And at the same time, I'm much more conscious about what I'm wearing. When I'm in London, I can go around in a pyjama and blend in. But in the regions where fashion was born, you can definitely be sure you'll be judged. So I become more self-conscious and take care about what I'm wearing or how I combine my colors. That is to say, I can blend in. However, there's something about me that doesn't fully belong. And it's that weirdness or not being fully normal. And I've noticed this in my friends. Maybe are foreigners who moved because they didn't feel like they belonged in their countries, or they have very unconventional, multinational lives. And they also are all a little bit weird. But it is this weird, multinational, maybe a bit quirky community that I feel the most myself with. And it's probably them that I call home.
I completely agree. So you found a small niche or a small community where you can be yourself and everybody has a little bit, Matschreiber sagt man auf Deutsch, a little bit crazy. But what is normal? You have an exact definition of normal, average. But average isn't the right word. Normal Dutch people, normal English people. Now you have to accept the fact that intelligence is really thinly spread. So let's see, 3% is highly intelligent. You and me, as an example. A percentage of that has a similar background, meaning multinational, globetrotter. That's where you less than 1%. Over 90% are worker types. And then you actually feel very alone, yeah, same here. And to be honest, true friendship, I've never experienced that. I've had my friends in high school, but that's it. That's like 20 years ago, 25 years ago. And I see friends. Good question. What are friends? Imagine, Xenia, you are very popular, you have a big influence online, you're on all these shows, all these catwalks and saying. Now imagine you becoming a Hollywood superstar, yes? I think you experienced that, didn't you? You wrote in your book that you felt very alone at the beginning in London, but that you socialized a bit and that you actually went to cafes, tried to home in on conversations with guys, which is a big no-go because that tells the guys that you're needy and that makes you, in their eyes, unattractive, yes. Pretty much. In Berlin, I couldn't go out, not alone. If I would go to a bar in Berlin alone, everybody would think, oh, he's alone, he doesn't have any friends. Where in Croatia, you could go out as a man, just have a coffee and a beer, and everybody respects that. Same in Italy. In Italy, what I like is you can go to a barbero to make your beard, and it's a man's salon, a man's barbershop. In Germany is, if I go out alone, I'm a loser. That's basically it. So in short, depending on the city, depending on the state, depending on the country, it's a different mentality. And it's everywhere similar. Over 90% is worker type, not your intellectual par, not on your intellectual level. And then you have to differentiate again. You learn every day. You say it so in your videos, but you do it in a fun way. Now you reach a level of knowledge, a level of insight. And I assume that your best friend that you chat with is Claude. Same with me. I chat with Grok AI or Google AI, and it's way more fun than chatting with any of my followers. You said in another video, your fans are not your friends. It's the truth. They see your videos. They see your persona. In short, you're like a people's relation firms. You're making relationships with all the people all around the world, but you don't see them. And they consider you a friend, but you don't even know that they exist. When 90% doesn't even comment. I had multiple followers who changed their names, who changed their icons, and then they say after so many years, I was that anonymous person online, I gave you a good comment or something. I was like, what? They consider me a friend, but I don't even know who they are. I only had the statistics of YouTube. That is lifetime for my German account. That's 1 million total views. Oh wow, 12,000 impressions for the story of Boy and Senos in German. The story of Madonna, 12,000 impressions. 700,000 impressions. This is the device type. Lifetime is in between 2013 and 2026. That is 13 years. 56% is from a computer. TV is 8%. 27% is 25 to 34. 25% is 35 to 44. 84% is male. 15% is female. 75% from Germany, Austria, Switzerland, the Netherlands, United States. So 81% of my subscribers watch most of the content. And you can actually see it on YouTube. Over 90% of people that actually commented, they loved my videos. In short, we are isolated because of our intellect, our knowledge, our experiences, and it's really difficult to connect with anyone. But at the same time, I have no social obligations. If you have true friends, then you shouldn't feel obliged to go to their parties every year. Or they should say, I'm getting married. And if you're truly close to them, okay, and it's in the vicinity, then okay. But I'm not going to travel all the way to Tokyo to wish you farewell. Yes, Xenia, I know what you mean. I know how it feels like. The statistical probability that we actually meet somewhere here is near zero, near absolute zero. Plus, you have 1 trillion defense systems. It's true, I make sci-fi, truth videos, emotionally real, but I can't prove anything. But everything what I say about covert ads, covert space programs, I'm not the first that claims this, you know. There are thousands of whistleblowers. They all had YouTube videos. The CapCut project was a majestic YouTube channel. Thousands of interviews, all whistleblowers, about the secret space program, secret technologies, psionic abilities, magical abilities. Yes, I recorded it because I knew that YouTube would censor it, and YouTube censored it. The CapCut project has thousands of interviews from whistleblowers from the secret space program, the alien agenda, the psionic soldiers, super soldiers, and it has been going on since over 20 years. From 2006, here an interview, from 2007, David Wilcock, and it's all on Rumble, www.rumble.com. She also has a website, Carrie Cassidy, which I highly recommend. Here is Carrie Cassidy, and it's incredible. Her work is practically a gold mine, literally a gold mine. So www.rumble.com, and you can watch all these interviews for free. So, yes, Xenia, of course, Xenia. You know that telepathy is more than possible? Yes. You know that I wrote often that your mind is very powerful? In that respect, we are a psionic unit. It's a special commando unit. We make contact. Psionics, pretty much, you can sync, you can home in on the eigenfrequency of their hearts, you can hear them beating. And in theory, yes, Xenia, you have that ability. Psionics, special powers. You can kill people with your mind alone. In short, we are Globetrotters. Because of our experience, you're a beautiful woman in my eyes, and I would love to meet you in the real, but I'm a man. And I say a lot online that is incredible. What you see in this video, that I'm, for the most part, normal. Plus, standard dating protocols suggest that we have to go out like 10-15 times. There are nice restaurants here, but I write it online 24/7. You can come and visit me. You can come to that restaurant. First time in my life that I actually feel free. I feel freer by the day. Mind, body, and spirit. I'm processing the traumas for real. And I'm enjoying my freedom. I've never had a decent, normal relationship with any woman. 5 shorts, but toxic. And in that respect, it's difficult. Building up trust, you're vulnerable, and you come from a power position. You could, in theory, I know it's damaging, I wouldn't, but you have the power. Xenia, I know what you mean, I know. I also feel lonely in that respect. In that respect, I feel misunderstood, and how can anybody truly grasp what you went through, Xenia, or what I went through? It takes a lifetime to get to know a person. I feel the most at home with people who have a multinational background, but not now a multinational background in the sense that they have experiences traveling or living in other places. And with Americans or with people like you, because you have a similar background, because you can be more open, you can be more critical, you can have better conversations. And that is rare. So in that respect, I fully understand you, but I want to lead a calm life here. It's true. I can do everything on my MacBook Pro. I did pitch you a concept ad, huh? I did that on my phone, so it's not perfect. I could remove all the errors. I know that you don't like that, but they told me. I said no, she doesn't like that. And they said, well, you have to do it. Legalities. And we learned something, didn't we? You have full rights to all your photographs and all iterations of AI imagery and AI created video from your images and videos. My girlfriend in Villa General Belgrano, Argentina, found that out, yes. So in short, I love it. I change your clothes to something more saucy. It's beautiful. You can make it within a second. That goes, that goes, that goes. In theory, we could make an entire clothing line. That is way better. It's true. It's majestic. I love it. I love actually that type of design. Everything's online. Once you have the design, you have to contact the high quality companies and they make it for you. Yes. See, I like talking about this more than all that. I create so much content and all social media channels are suppressing my account. Yes, by 99%. I make videos for a small clientele in that respect. Yes, officially online. Unofficially, that's a different thing. Xenia, everything's going to be alright. In your latest post you said you were in a tropical place, but I understand why you want to keep that to yourself. You know where I am. You have my email, my number's on my website. Yes, that's my second Dominican phone. I have WhatsApp, no? I know. I learned that as well. Keep the anonymity. Nos vemos, muchacha. Ciao.
The Hermetic Order of the White Lilies.